Master Steve here with Julian in the park right next to Blue Moon Project, Blue Moon Martial Arts. We're going to talk about some certain techniques that you can use, okay? The first thing, well, the problem is with demos, and I think there's a misconception on how demos work in a self-defense. Now watch, Julian is going to throw a punch and block. Again, punch, block, punch, block. The problem is Julian's staying there. In reality, nobody would just stay there and block. They would disengage. Now Julian's going to disengage. You're going to punch. Even if there's a block, he's disengaging and going back. That is the reality of it. Okay? And time. Good. What we need to do is, knowing the reality, once Julian disengage, the hit should be on Julian, whatever hit it's going to be. So in this case, we're just going to do a simple jab. So I'm going to do it slow. Julian, come. Let's disengage. The jab should be at the same time. Notice the reality wouldn't be his arm out there. So now you're going to disengage. Ready? Come, disengage, pop. Okay? At the same time, if I was come in with the hook, pop. It should be going straight. Okay? Because the reality is your hand wouldn't stay out there. So a couple of videos that you see, you just see this. You see attacks like this where they make fun of martial arts. But what they have to understand is when you train that certain part, you need to do it slow, and speed comes in time. There's always disengaging. Blocking actually is not a reality, because in real combat, it's very disorganized, and they come at you with a lot of flurries of hits. So a block would technically only be there for a split second. Blocking is a defense where if you're overwhelmed by techniques, you need to keep your hands up so you will not get fatally injured. So now you're gonna throw the regular jab. So keep your hands up. Julian's like, what am I doing? Yes, come straight. Jab. Good. Do it again. Good. Okay. So as you can see, Julian is throwing the jab. I'm not gonna stay on the center line. I'm gonna move. Right? I have to move out of the way. When we use our hand to push Julian's energy the opposite way. So come in, Julian. As he's throwing, I want to get off the center line. When you do hit the hand, okay, not necessarily a block, because his arm is not going to stay out there, it distorts his energy towards me, and then I can hit. So Julian, do it slow. You're going to come in, do it again, slow, come in towards me. See, that's the problem with martial arts. Julian doesn't want to hurt me because he's a good guy. But that's not the point. When you throw like this, you're not doing the person that actually is in combat a favor, because he doesn't know the reality of what's really going to happen. So this is throw. Ah, that's what we need. Throw. So now I have to, with my energy, make sure I redirect his energy. One more time, throw. And then I'm following up so I can hit Julian. Very good job. So now Julian's going to attack me with a knife. Julian wouldn't do that because he's a really good guy, but he wants to show. And this is the problem with a lot of demonstration videos. And I wouldn't say the problem with demonstration. People don't understand that the video is slowed down to show the technique so you can practice the technique. A lot of real fighters, what I'm saying by real fighters, boxers, MMA people, they look and go, that's not real, that doesn't work. That's not the point of the actual demonstration. The actual demonstration is showing the technique on what can be used. I understand them though, because if you practice a certain way, you won't be able to use it in real combat. I get it. But let's try to break it down, okay? So Julian has a knife and he wants to come and stab me. Ah, he did it. So I have to get out of the way. Usually they want to go here, there. I don't want to stab Master Steve. So I'm going to come in straight. I have to redirect the knife. The only problem with this in a technique, you might see something like this, which is Hapkido, by the way, which we also teach in Blue Moon. But that's not the point. You see how we have this certain grip and we want to take it down? Obviously, the V, we want to take it down. As you can see, Julian feels it. That's not the hard part. Because if I wanted to get there, the reality, the person will be fighting me. So I have to hit the person. I have to hit the person to make sure I can do that. That's the first thing. The second thing, the hardest part of this technique is come straight, catching this hand. Very difficult to do. We train it so we can do it, but technically it's hard to do. So technically, if he comes in straight, I want to hit. I want to worry about the knife getting out of the way of the knife or the danger, but I want to hit and hurt the person that's trying to hurt me. Do we have some? I see you looking. So coming straight, stab, right? I'm getting out of the way. But Julian was kind of not to disengage. Now I want you to disengage. Go. You see? The reality is I have to give Julian something to think about because he's going to disengage. He's not going to stay there. Okay? And obviously I want to be accurate. Why do we practice martial arts? So we're accurate when this happens, when we're under stress, when we know somebody is going to be coming in, like Julian. Okay? So as you can see this fine face, where we're hitting is right here by the nose area. Okay? We want to make sure it's by the face. The skull is very durable. Right here on anybody, and it doesn't matter who it is. We cannot do nose curls. We can't do eyelid lifts. And we cannot do mouth push-ups, even though we try. But this is the vulnerable part of the face, and this is where we need to hit. Everybody's different. It might take Julian a split second to recover from a hit. It might take somebody 1 second to hit the floor. That's not the point is that you have to hit because that weapon is going to disengage. Okay? Let's come back. Now I have my trusty knife. Okay? What I want to Julian, he looks worried, but it's going to be okay. When Julian comes in, okay? And we're going to go back to the punching in a second. When Julian comes in, come in, Julian. What do I want to do with my knife? Is not technically hit Julian, is take away his knife. And how do I do that? Come in, stepping to the side, and making sure I can take away the knife with my knife. More than trying to go here. Because, technically, there you go, Julian. If I go out of the way, he disengaged. That's the reality. And if I come here, he might follow up. So even if I get Julian, he can get me. So what I want to do is take away the weapon, pop, and then go. Okay? So, one last thing. Let's talk about self-defense. Okay, Julian is better at punching than I am, okay? We have this thing, especially in the movies, especially when you see any actual fighting, but in combat, if you're overwhelmed because the person has better skill, Julian has better skill than me, and he wants to hit me, so Julian starts to hit, he starts to hit, and I'm getting hit in the face, and I can't help but getting hit in the face. What I want to do is not try to match Julian getting hit in the face. I want to hit his arms. If he's punching, hitting his arms. Punch, arms, arms, and not the face. Two things. I might not have the reach or the length. So I can't, everything that I'm throwing might not reach Julian. How can I reach Julian with his longest weapon right here and ruin his weapon? If I throw a hook through the elbow, he might just hyperextend his own arm. He might mess up his arm. So remember that. We don't want to match overwhelming. Come on in. He's overwhelming. So I want to hit the arm, and not. Sorry, Joe. Sorry.
Effective,
mommy.
Effective.
So hitting the arm is a big part of it. Or maybe if I'm here, going low. Okay, hitting low towards the leg. Blue Moon Martial Arts. We'll be back at you next week. So we're done actually going over some techniques and showing what should be done as far as demo and what's done in reality. Julian, did you learn anything?
Yes, I learned how to stop a knife. I learned how to block an attack and how to adjust to my opponent if I'm ever overwhelmed in a close quarter situation.
Oh, that's good. Because actually, I'm going to have somebody attack you out of nowhere. And let's see if it works. Because that's the reality. If it's going to happen in reality, can you take care of yourself? Why do you look worried?
I'm not.
Okay. So, just joking. I'm not going to have him being attacked But the point is, you should be ready, and that's why practice is important. Going into our place, into Blue Moon, and actually practicing the techniques. So if you need to use it, it becomes natural, just like Julian just practiced. Next week, we'll go over some more knife techniques, some more hand techniques, a lot of more hand techniques and leg techniques, which we do against a leg attack, hand attack, and weapon attack. I hope you enjoyed the techniques that you just learned. Hopefully you enjoyed it, Julian.
I enjoyed it, but was this stuff real? This isn't some movie, Hollywood made up stuff?
Well, technically, yes. It's a little of both. Reality, combat is very disorganized. It's not like a movie. So we practice martial arts in Blue Moon so we can practice, be repetitive. So in reality, you can use these techniques if they come to. But it's going to be disorganized. It's not going to look like a movie. That is my point. Like in demo, your arm is left out there. In reality, your arm is never left out there. What you need to do if somebody's attacking you and you're overwhelmed is hit the arms. So in reality, you can use these techniques. But when we show the audience, it looks a little different and it looks like it's a movie.
Makes sense.
Yeah.